Hey guys, I'm just testing stuff out. I'm gonna have a live chat tonight at 8:30. So, good morning. Oh, yeah, I'm just testing out this thing. They're finally YouTube's finally got the live chat somewhat fixed, and I kind of figured out my own, figured out what I was doing wrong. So I'm gonna start having a little bit more of these. I'm pretty tired. I got in late last night from Tampa. So JT Honan, my favorite lure is the lure that the bass wants. Sweet exams today. That's pretty cool. Good morning, Jeremy. Anthony, I got to talk to a couple of sponsors. 13 Fishing gave me a reel yesterday. Concept A. There'll be a pretty cool little giveaway that we're gonna do in the future. It's not gonna be anytime soon. So trip back was pretty good. Had a bad storm that I had to drive through, but other than that, was pretty good. Wish I could find my little tripod for my webcam, but I can't. So I had to put it up at the top of the screen. I usually have it down here lower. Best kayak that's not outrageous. I don't know, man. I the ATAC's pretty good. I don't know how much it is though. Nope, I haven't quit my job yet. That's the cork board. You guys remember all the pictures that were up there? What last year? All the subscriber pictures. That's what that is where they were pinned to. That's just my cork board. So good morning, Lewis. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it. Next fishing trip. Actually, I'm going ice fishing. Let me look at my calendar and I'll tell you. In 2 weeks, I'll be up at Lake of the Woods. I have Erica fished Lake Fork years ago, and I'd love to get back there. It's a great lake. I just don't have anything planned yet. Favorite lure during winter? I don't know. There's several I use. I like to downsize to a small jig. I like to downsize to a fluke on a lead head. Um, a bunch of this different stuff. I got some cool things coming out here really, really, really soon. Almost done with an ebook that I'm co-authoring with a guy. It's all about winter fishing and it's phenomenal. So we're almost done with it. We're going to start doing ebooks and all kinds of cool stuff this year. That's funny. That 13 Inception's a great reel. I've just picked up two more. My goals with fishing is to teach the world to fish. So that's something I'm going to do the rest of my life. Biggest fish is 10 pound, 12 ounces. Yeah, I use prop baits. I'll do a video in the summer. I do that when the brim are on the beds is usually when I throw a prop bait. Final thoughts on the Big O. It's pretty much what I expected with the weather we got. It was tough, really, really, really tough. The bass wanted to move up and they couldn't. And the lake, the only thing I didn't expect was the lake came up almost 2 feet, and made things pretty terrible. I was lucky to catch the fish I got, and they just did not like that lake level at all. Have I ever fished Alabama? I fished all along the Tennessee River in Alabama, and I fished Wadawi and what was the other lake? Um, Logan Martin are the lakes I fished in Alabama. I get an Alabama fishing license every year. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. Sweet. That's a big yellowfin. How do I get all this money to buy all this equipment? I have a job. I went into the Army. They trained me to be an X-ray tech. I was in the Army for 6 years. I got out. I got a job that pays well, and I know how to manage my money. And so it's all about working hard and not spending everything you buy or not spending everything you earn. Recommended rod protector. For me, they're all about the same. I don't know. It's just I have two or three different types. They're rod protectors. You just slide your rod in there and they go in the box. That's funny, Jeremy. What's my favorite lake? Lake Wilson in Alabama is my favorite lake right now. I always want to go back there. It's a great lake. Thanks, Jeff. I'm trying to read all these. I just don't read fast, guys. Sorry, guys. Brandon, where do you live in the trout mecca? Because I grew up fishing Henry's Fork Reservoir, Yellowstone, West Yellowstone, Yellowstone River, that kind of stuff. I grew up fly fishing out there. That's where we went on family vacation. I am going to the Bassmasters Classic this year. I will be there with Mystery Tackle Box and Biospawn. Be walking around to different booths, visiting my sponsors and visiting people. Pretty cool. Hey, how you guys like this new shirt? Matter of fact, speaking of the Classic, these are my shirts I've got to wear to the Classic and all the trade shows I'm going to this year. So it's pretty sweet. So a performance shirt. One of these days I'll get my own apparel going, but man, there's a lot to it, a lot more than I thought there would be. So I haven't fished any lakes in Missouri. If I only had one rod, one reel, one lure, what would it be? It'd be a medium action, 7 foot long blackout with the new Inception reel. Matter of fact, I love that reel. It's a great price at 120 bucks. But anyway, enough with the plugs. We're going, and the lure would have to be some type of a straight tail worm, either weightless or weighted or some type of soft plastic. But straight tail worm is usually what I go for. That'd be cool to do a kayak meetup. What did I do in high school and what did I study? Also, I sucked at high school. I was a CDF student, and found out when I was 25 it was mainly because I'm dyslexic. And I wish I'd have known that in school. I probably would have been able to, adjust how I learned things. So I've gotten to where I'm at with my hard work and being able to talk to people because I sucked at school. I always did. So it was just tough, 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 tough. Let's see. Uh, I might fish with Justin. I don't know. We haven't talked, so I can't tell you. I'd love to fish with him. That would be awesome. So yeah, March 12th is pretty. March is pretty busy for me. I'm going to be going out to the Alumacraft factory and working on some stuff. So yeah, it's going to be pretty busy with March. That with the Bassmasters Classic and everything else. So um, let's see. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, go to school. Ever fish for walleyes? Yeah, I did. I got to catch my very first walleye this last year. I went to Minnesota and I caught it at Deer Lake, I believe it was called. Yeah, I was pretty excited. That was a good fish and it tasted good too. Do I ever plan on fishing tournaments professionally? No. Nope. I like what I'm doing. I want to teach the world to fish, and I can't do it when I fish professional, fish tournaments. Is there a disadvantage for a two-piece rod over one-piece rod? Yes. Sensitivity. Um, I love. I have a couple of rods that I use that are pack rods that are 4-piece rods, but you lose sensitivity, you lose action, and but they're working on and coming out with some really good 2 and 3-piece rods now. The technology's gotten to the point where they can really make them as good as they can be. But I always prefer a 1-piece. What's my favorite jig color for the Siebert ones? That's funny you ask. I finally, you guys finally slowed down ordering them enough for me to be able to get my own. My favorite one, of course, is my Flukemaster jig, which is this one right here. It's on an Arky head. I just got them in, just opened up the box today. That's the one I designed. It's the one I've used for years and years and years and caught tons and tons and tons and tons of fish on. My second favorite one is it's called Trust Me. It doesn't look like much. You know, it's like a green pumpkin. It's got a little bit of purple flake in it. You can't see it. It's let me get it out of the shiny little package. Um, it's just got a little bit of brown and green pumpkin, and there's not much to it. But wintertime, that's a really, really good color. And when the fishing's tough, I don't like a whole lot of color change on my jigs. So those 2 colors, pretty cool. Sorry. What tips can I give for getting on pro staff teams and sponsors? Um, the biggest, I'm putting together a seminar about this for one of my sponsors, but the biggest thing is that you got to realize that the product is not what you're selling. When you need to make yourself valuable to to the company, and you do that by selling yourself. You become the product. We've reached a point in time in history where people buy into a person more than they buy into a company or into a company's product. And so, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. With me, I have to make sure if I'm going to talk about something, if I'm going to promote something, I got to make sure a couple of things. I got to make sure that it is a quality product and that I'm not screwing you guys because you trust me. You trust my opinion. And I don't care much about what sponsors think about how I promote things because I'm going to do it my way, the way I feel like you guys want it to be done. And you know, this toad trips thing, I was a big experiment. We'll get to that tonight. I'll talk more about that tonight. But anyway, and uh, and so you just got to make sure. The second thing is when you get real big, like with me, I've got to be careful what company I partner with because if it's a small company, I could ultimately hurt them because of the demand that comes from when I do videos. If I was to take a small crankbait company and say, "Oh yeah, this is an awesome crankbait," and then 1,000 people go to buy it, and the guy can only put out 4 or 5 a day, his reputation goes, you know. So that's kind of what it is. But anyway, just sell yourself. Figure out how you can promote yourself and make yourself valuable to the company. Find your own little niche. Sweet. Thanks, Jeremy. Sorry, guys. I'm reading some of these. Why did I not go with Ranger? Why did I go with an aluminum boat over a fiberglass boat? That is a question I get every stinking day. Um, it boils down to cost per day. I'm on the water 200 days a year at least. If you do the math, a fiberglass bass boat costs more to run, costs between 80 and $120 a day in fuel, and a fiberglass boat or an aluminum boat, mine with the 115 show on it, cost me between 15 and $20 a day. Multiply that by 200 and see what you think. That is why I use an aluminum. I don't need a big boat. I don't need to go 75 miles an hour. You know, you may see me in an aluminum tournament boat one day, but you're not going to see me in a fiberglass boat because I really feel like an aluminum is going to save you a lot more money. If you're high school tournament fishing, if you're college tournament fishing, that is aluminum's a way to go. And so it's good. It's just cool. I just love to fish out of one. Flukemaster we trust. That's funny. Have I ever fished Altoona? I'm guessing that's what it says. Yeah, it's actually that's my wife's from up that way, so I get to fish it every once in a while. I fished it a lot years ago, but it's been probably 15 years or 10 years since I fished it. Seriously. Um, Oh, yeah, a Ranger makes aluminum boats, but my Alumacraft has probably 2.5 times the storage space of the Rangers. I can fit a lot more stuff in it. It's a lot more storage friendly, and I've dug through those boats and I'm like, man, that's just I wish they had more storage, but no, I'm gonna stick with my Alumacraft because it's I can put as much stuff as I want in it and much stuff as I need. What do I need to avoid rough water with aluminum boat? When you buy an aluminum boat, make sure you get one that has a solid one-piece hull. It can't have any welds down the center. Alumacrafts have a solid one-piece hull, and the welds are, of course, up in the seams along the outside. That makes for a more stable ride, more solid ride, and then get the biggest motor that you can afford so you can get up on top of those waves. That Alumacraft get my last boat, my Triton, was really, really rough as soon as you saw white caps. As soon as you saw it rolling over a little bit, it got rough and it started to hurt because it flexed a lot. It was a two-piece hull. With the Alumacraft, it's about 2 footers, 1.5 to 2 footers. You start to feel it really bad, and then when you get to 3 footers, it gets really rough, and you kind of want to slow down. So that's the difference. And I love the Alumacraft because it doesn't beat the crap out of me. It's a solid boat. What lakes have I fished in Texas? Belton and Fork are the two I've fished in Texas. What makes me love the Georgia hat? Go Dogs. I've been a Georgia fan my whole entire life. This is actually a new one. I'm trying out some new ones and see which ones I like. Um, but I ordered a bunch of them. I got a few more right here. I got a big head, so I have to try stuff on to make sure that they fit. Favorite 13 fishing reel? The Concept A right now is my favorite one. I haven't tried the two expensive ones though. The C and the E and the KP are the two I haven't tried. What lures would I recommend using for muddy water and cold conditions? I hate fishing muddy water and cold conditions. The only thing you can do to even remotely be successful is get a black and blue jig and go fish stumps and dock post and anything that you can see. Go really, really shallow, and you got to throw in there, let it hit, make a perfect cast without a splash, let it go down, and just sit there and shake it. It's and expect one fish a day. I usually go home. Oh, you Georgia Tech and Alabama fans. Yeah, we got your coaches. Uh, how do you get your parents to take you out on a big lake? Talks about going, but bails on me every time. Dude, that's tough, man. Stay at him. Um, that's all I can say. I take my kids out as much as I can, but that's kind of why I want to go. That's the biggest reason why I want to go full time fishing is so I don't have to work weekends anymore and take my fish out, or take my kids out more. Any tips for boatless anglers? We call them, every time I break a boat or I don't have a boat, my buddy calls me boatless bank trash. Um, the best thing I have, and I'm working on some stuff right now. I can't really reveal about bank fishing. I'm working on some really cool stuff, but is go find the steepest part of the bank that's safe for you to fish and fish it first, and then work your way around the lakes. So the 13 fishing inception reel, it's surprisingly good for a $120 reel. I tried to beat the crap out of them this week at Okeechobee. As you guys saw, I didn't catch a whole lot of really big fish, but dude, I put that thing to the test, and I'm really, really, really impressed with it. It held up, didn't get dinged up a lot. The drag is excellent, the casting is excellent, just a great reel. That's the one I tried to use the most this week. Biggest pet peeves fishing wise. Um, it had to do with boating. I hate when people don't know that when they're coming towards somebody else, you're doing this number, that you always go to the right, just like you're driving. You pass somebody to the right. It drives me nuts when people don't know that. And too many people don't know that. Have I ever gone kayak fishing? Yeah, Matt, I do it all the time. Yep, Eric, that's exactly right. Fish don't care what kind of boat you're in. So, Bass Geek, I'm an X-ray technician, been doing it for 19 years. I work at a trauma center on the weekends. What's my all-time biggest bass? 10 pounds, 12 ounces. I caught it from a Hobie kayak last spring. The guides do stick through on the rod socks, Ryan, but you just pop them right back through. It's from grabbing it and squeezing them, and the guides will pop through them. They're excellent because you can get as many rods as you can into your rod locker and still get them out fairly easy, provided you don't throw spinning reels in there with them. But spinning reels, I can't stand spinning reels when you store them. They don't play well with others. Who I think is going to win the classic? I don't even know. I usually guess about the week before when I have a chance to sit down and look at who's actually fishing. Where do I start looking for bass when the pre-spawn starts? Pre-spawn starts, I go straight to the backs of the creeks. To be honest with you, I do it totally different than everybody else. I go all the way to the backs of the creeks and I work my way out, and I concentrate on what's called transitions, which is the where the bank changes from like a rock to sand, or a rock to big rock to little rock, or um, or things like that, or logs or things. I just run the bank and I try to concentrate in the 1 to 8, 10 foot range. And I work my way out, and as I get further and further out up the creek and I'm not catching fish, I go deeper and deeper. That's kind of how I do it. It doesn't always work, but that's how I do it. Aluminum echoing. I've never had that problem. Carpet your boat and wear Crocs. I've never had that problem. I catch fish under my boat all the time. Let's see. 3 pros you would love to fish with. Mark Zona. Um, who else? Casey Ashley. No, yeah, Casey Ashley. I'd like to fish with Casey. I like him. Um, and I'd love to sit down and have a day with Randy Howell. I've always liked Randy Howell. Say hi, we say hi to each other every time we see each other at the Classic. Just I've always just wanted to go sit in the boat with him. Not even have to fish. I just want to sit and talk. He's a great guy, a really good guy. If I know Noah Pescatelli, do I think he's doing well for himself in fishing world in such a young age? Yes, I think that he has really good potential. As he grows, it's going to be neat to watch him grow up and watch him mature in the industry. It's a great opportunity he has to go to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, and be on their fishing team. I went and visited with their coach on the way down to Okeechobee and learned a lot about that school. And it's a phenomenal school to go to if you're a fisherman. It's really cool. He's going to have some good opportunities. So yeah, I think he has potential. I think he's making some good choices. That's a good idea. Bass Mafia shirt giveaway. I might do that. Pondmaster, do your schoolwork, dude. I'm gonna have one tonight that's gonna be long. I'm just doing this one because I wanted to make sure everything worked. How do I like Z-Man plastics? I like them until you dip them into JJ's Magic, then they disappear. But I fish them. I just can't use my JJ's with them. Skits on Crocs. uh, am I a fan of power poles, and would I ever use them? Up until this year, I wasn't, because my home lake is an offshore lake. We wouldn't use them, but just during the spawn. So I really wasn't very excited about it. But now that I've been traveling around, especially Okeechobee and those kind of places, man, I wish I had them on my boat. So perhaps I'll be able to get some and put them on my boat this next year. We'll see. I'm going to have to get a jack plate and get a jack plate that holds the power poles because I don't want to screw any holes into my boat. Matt Sport, more crappie fishing. I agree. Totally agree. I have tried and tried to crappie fish, and this warm weather has messed it up because I catch them better when it's really cold. Have I ever heard of star whale boats? No, never heard of them. What advice on a video editing program? Um, Movie Maker is okay. I used it a couple of times. I've always used Adobe Premiere Elements. It's $100 program if you buy it brand new, but if you can find last year's version on Amazon, you can usually get it for 50 bucks. And that's usually what I do. And then I just use it for 3 or 4 years until I get sick and tired of it. And I get the next one up for 50 bucks. Do I put a power pole on my kayak? Yes, I have a power pole micro on my kayak. Take off on the Big O this morning. Big O was actually pretty good. A lot of the Florida guys that I've been getting comments from think I don't know, understand Florida bass, and they think that they're awesome because they can go out and catch Florida bass. They don't realize I guided a lake for 6 years that had Florida bass, so I understand them. I know what they do and how they respond to weather changes and lake level changes and things like that. And everything happened this week that was tough on the fish. They wanted to move up and spawn and they couldn't because the lake level was rising and they were trying to find that perfect depth that they like, and it just made things tough. They're going to whack them this week for the FLW though. They're hitting it perfect. I was a week early. How was fishing with hook and lips? It was pretty good. There's some good guys. Or he's a good guy anyway. His buddy's pretty good too. We had a lot of fun. What is bass on Chickamauga right now? I don't know. I've never fished Chickamauga this time of year. A rig and a lipless crankbait would be my choices though. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh crud! Hold on a second. I just hit the wrong button on my computer. Can't see. What jerkbait company do I recommend? I recommend you find 5 jerkbait companies and buy a couple of jerkbaits from each of them because it's funny. I will go through, if I know they're on a jerkbait bite, I will go through 12 or 15 different jerkbaits until I find the one they absolutely want. And so that's my suggestion. Don't stick with just one company. Get 5 different companies, a couple jerkbaits from each company. So do I come to Lanier often? A couple times a year I do. Uh, Dude, I tried the panfish MTB Slam this last month, but my crappie disappeared. The water temperature warmed up, and I had 1,000 crappie in a bunch of different trees, and they were gone. And I'm not that good at crappie fishing, except in the wintertime when they get into my trees, and I can go find them and whack them, and that was really tough. So it's coming. I've got the box. I get the box every month, and I keep trying to do it, and I just suck at it. I really do. And then the MTB Slam for January probably isn't. Well, it's not going to happen because I destroyed the box in that rain, and things got rusty, and it was miserable, absolutely miserable. I mean, hooks rusted and everything else. It was just I don't know what to do. But the January one's not going to happen. The February one will. It sucks. 7-to-1 baitcaster reel. What recommendations? If you want to spend $120, dude, that Inception, that new 13 Inception is incredible. I'm gonna do a review on it. I'm gonna do a bunch of reviews on my 13 stuff and Biospawn stuff and things like that. I'm gonna basically load a ton of things onto my review channel here in the near future. Now that I got an editor that can help me get things out pretty quick. Um, I'm going to talk more about the experiment that Okeechobee was. I'm going to talk more about that tonight at 8:30 on my live hangout. So I'm not going to talk too much about it right now, but it was a good experiment. I learned a lot. I learned what you guys wanted and what you didn't want. So um, I'm sorry if I ticked a bunch of people off because it went all entertaining, but I wanted to see what happened. Um, at what water temperature do bass start to move up out of the channel? Talking about coming from wintertime to pre-spawn. It is as soon as the water temperature starts to warm back up. It all depends on what your coldest water temperature is. And when you start to get those nights that are warmer than the water temperature, that's when the water temperature will start coming up because the nights are longer than the days. And that's when I start to fish shallower and shallower. And it's amazing how fast those bass move shallow. Do I like my new iPhone? That's not funny, Ryan. Not funny at all. That was 300 bucks down the drain because of that stinking thing. Ugh. And the worst thing is my wife had backed up her phone on my cloud. So when I put all the stuff back on my phone, it was all her stuff, and I didn't have a chance to go fix it. Crazy. Matt Hensley, do I fish power plant lake differently in pre-spawn than I do regular lake? I don't. I've never fished a power plant lake, so I wouldn't be able to answer that one. Do I ever throw the Ned rig? Every once in a while. I always have one in my box. I haven't really given it the time it needs to gain confidence in it. So but it's coming. I really want to start catching them on it. I have an Abu Garcia Pro. The guide inserts fall out. Why is this? Because it's a cheap rod. That, and if it's a tip top, sometimes it's because you hit your sinker on it. So where can we get some Flukemaster gear? That's coming. I'm trying to do it a different way. I just got to get the time to do it. And I really, really, really want to do it. This was just a test shirt. I got a few of them. I'm trying to figure out how much it's going to cost me and stuff like that. This was not cheap, and so I'm trying to find that happy medium. If I ever have I ever fished a watery, never fished a watery. Do you always wear that hat? And it's good luck for you sometime. I always wear this hat, and I'll tell you why. When I started making videos, my little brother, has a master's degree in marketing. And he told me, he said, Gene, if you get popular with these videos, you're going to want to have a hat because nobody's ever going to recognize you. And so basically, I've been a Georgia fan my whole life. So I said, well, there's only one hat I would absolutely wear all the time, and that's it. And so that's why. And so people will recognize me and I'll get a chance to talk to people. I love it. I love when people come up to me at the store and stuff like that, and I sit down and I talk fishing with them and, explain things to them and teach them. And it's really cool. So yeah, that's why I always have this hat. It's kind of my MO now. Spawning procedure same for big lakes and ponds. Yeah, for the most part. They move shallow quickly. They try to get warmed up as fast as they can as the water warms, and then they eat and then they spawn. So the only difference is the change in how they locate themselves up creek channels if there's not a creek channel. Did I make my own intro? Did somebody else? I actually just hired an editor. Um, Luckily he works for pennies because that's all I got to pay him. He'd do it for free, but I refused to let him do that for free. I feel bad. I feel really bad if I didn't pay him something. So, Pawn Master, you must have just got on here. I didn't do an MTB Slam last month because I was going to do it in Okeechobee and it rained real hard. By the time I got to it, excuse me, everything was rusted in the box. It got soaking wet from us opening up the hatches and getting stuff out and stuff like that. It was in one of my hatches and it got wet, and so I wasn't able to do it. Kind of ruined the whole box. My go-to pre-spawn baits is a lipless crankbait and a jig. And a chatterbait too. Chatterbait was amazing last year. What's my favorite swim bait? Depends on what you're talking about. Hard body swim bait is the bull shad, but the paddle tails I have several different kinds. Yeah, yeah, I got a good editor. He's really good, guys. Mainly I got him because I wanted to be able to bump up my production. I want to be able to put out a video every other day at least, and a good quality video. And so I'm still trying to find that stride, and it's tough now that I'm still working my full-time job, but I want to find that stride where I'm able to put out a good instructional video and some entertaining videos and kind of mix it up a bit and really have fun with it. So let's see. How do I know when spawning starts here in Central Texas? It's 40 today and it's supposed to be 75, 80 this week. It's all about water temperature. Well, and it has something to do with the moon and stuff like that, but they usually start spawning when it gets to the low 60s. 63 is usually the peak, or not the peak, is usually the ideal temperature. So 63 degrees of where they're at. Anything on reservoir fishing like after rain or a week of clouds? Just throw a search bait. Depending on the water temperature, depending on the time of the year, I would throw a search bait until I found them. Favorite all-around rod? There's not one. Uh, the all-around rod consists of 3 rods. If you're going to go with all-around it, you're going to need 3 rods. You're going to need a medium or a medium light spinning rod, a medium action bait caster, and a medium heavy action bait caster. And that would cover just about everything. Promo codes with my sponsors. No, I don't have any right now. I need to go ahead and get those, but I haven't had a chance to even think about talking with them, and it's my bad. That's just one of those things that slipped my mind. In Boy Scouts, was I an Eagle Scout? I am an Eagle Scout. I will be an Eagle Scout even after I die. Are concept reels good reels? Yes, they are. I've tried to beat them up, and they're doing pretty good. Fishing with college tournament in March on Kentucky Lake, but he doesn't have a GPS on this unit. Only downscan. Hell, whatever you approach the situation. I would, if you've got an iPhone, get the Navionics web app and enable the GPS on it and use it. And take your phone charger with you. Best finesse, ride, action, and power. I don't understand that. What is your favorite spawn bait? Whatever, dude. I'll throw the boat at them. I found that if they're spawning, if you mix it up a bunch, a lot of times that'll work. You just keep beating the snot out of them. Is Browspawn working on anything new? We're gonna have a bunch of new colors. They won't tell me if they're working on any new baits. I'll find out in the next few months. Let's see. Cool. Thanks, Jason. Another brother. I don't know about Android. I don't have one, so you'd have to check it out yourself. Have I had any luck with the Buka Bull herring on Clark's Hill? Yes, I do. That's one of my secret baits. How do I go about fishing pre-spawn on a large lake that is too grassy for a lipless? Throw a chatterbait. Comes through grass a whole lot better. Chris, I am about to do a video that I've been wanting to do for years. Now that I got an editor and I feel like I can do it professional enough, it's going to be how to teach kids how to fish, and I'm going to cover that. Best thing to do is don't take your own stuff. Be their coach and spread them out along the bank and let them fish. Use small hooks and live bait and let them catch whatever. And you know, a fish this big, I wish I had it on camera. One time my youngest son, caught a bass this big, and he held it up and he said, "Daddy, it's a trophy." And you got to realize that a small fish is a trophy to a kid. So just let them catch whatever. Putting a trolling motor on a kayak. I don't really think that's for me. Some people like it. I like to paddle with my Hobie. It's just a lot more fun. What are my other hobbies other than fishing? I hunt a little bit. I used to hunt a lot. I love to camp, spend time with my kids, do Boy Scout stuff. I love wilderness survival. I always have. I've been doing that most of my life. Go out with as little as I can and go have fun overnight. That kind of stuff. Gardening, woodworking. I got a bunch of different little hobbies that I do. What do I recommend for one's first avionics maps for a new boat? I'd get the ones with the lake you fish. Is the only thing I think about. Just get the ones you can afford. Should you use fluoro over the braid? That is up to you. Depends on what you do. I use fluoro when I'm not fishing really, really heavy cover. Have I helped design any lures? Yes, I helped with the taper of the 6.5 inch plasma tail. They kind of gave me the opportunity to, you know, they said, does it want to do I want it fat or thin? And I said the thinner the better. And kind of showed them what I wanted. And then all these jigs from Seabird Outdoors I designed. I have my own line of jigs with Seabird. To use a specific braid for each rod and reel? No. Depends on the technique and the rod. Yeah. But I use braid for frogs, flipping into heavy cover, and then I use braid on my spinning rods with a fluorocarbon leader. Everything else I use a copolymer. Top 3 lakes that I love to fish. Oh gosh. I love Chickamauga. I love Wilson on the Tennessee River. Gunnersville. I want to go to Lake Falcon. I've never been there. Dude, I've got so many lakes that just there are so many good lakes in the country right now. It'd be fun just to go visit them all. Recommendations for a fish finder on a John boat. One that you can afford that has color and down scan or down imaging, whatever the company calls it, and a GPS. That is the minimum of what I would use because all of those tools are so good to have on a boat. So you can find my jigs at Siebert Outdoors. It's the Flukemaster series. What to throw on mud, mushy bottom lakes? Nothing on the bottom. No jigs, no Texas rigs, unless you're flipping into cover. Moving baits, Carolina rig, Mojo rig, stuff that keeps the bait out of the mud. I've ever fished with ultralight gear. Yeah, I caught biggest one I ever caught off of a ultralight rod is a 8.5 pound bass, 4 pound test fluorocarbon. I flip with a says what length rod do you pitch with? I pitch with a 7'3" medium heavy and a 7'3" heavy, and then I flip with a 7'11" heavy. Favorite soft plastic swim bait? I don't have a favorite soft plastic swim bait. I really don't. That's why I haven't answered that question. It just all depends on what the fish wants. I have 8 or 10 different types. Favorite chatterbait is the what do they call that thing? The Project Z chatterbait. I love it. Since they came out with it last year, that's all I've used. Dream Shot versus Plasma Tail. I think the Plasma Tail it has a better action because it stands out straight in the water when it's underwater and it doesn't kind of bend over. And then when you shake it, it just kind of it's like teasing them. It's a pretty cool. That's the reason why I like the Plasma Tail. Make your own GoPro holders for your boat. Yes, I do. I make my own mounts for my boat. I always have. So this camera angle's bugging me. Sorry, guys. If I'm gonna lay back like this and look fat, I might as well let you see my whole fat belly. What's a good shaky head worm that is buoyant? The Plasma Tail 6.5 inch. That's what we designed it for. Doesn't have a whole lot of salt in it, so it's really, really buoyant. Hold on, guys. I got to take this. I'll talk to you later.